Hello, my name is April Gimlin, and today I will be discussing a case study regarding budget management in higher education. In this case study, the focus is on the University of Connecticut and their $40 million budget deficit for the 2016 fiscal year. At this time, the university had plans to increase tuition by thousands of dollars for both in and out-of-state students. Chief Financial Officer Scott Jordan explained the increase to the Board of Trustees and stated it was necessary as the university was in a dire financial situation. The CFO added that cutting the budget elsewhere, such as in personnel or the number of classes offered, would not serve students well. Jordan's idea to increase tuition by such a large amount is not a perfect fix for the budget deficit. With the increase, current students may leave due to lack of funds, and potential students could be scared away by the hefty price tag. The question is, how do we get UConn out of the deficit without an increase in tuition and without decreasing the academic quality the school provides? The author of the case study, James Leonard, provided alternative solutions to increasing tuition and or cutting faculty and classes. The first offering he gave us was simplify organizational structure by decreasing layers of management. I agree that this is an important standard to follow regardless of financial crisis or not. The second solution offered is to increase the number of direct reports to each supervisor. Again, I feel that this is important regardless of financial crisis. This adds more accountability as to where the funds are being spent in general. Number 3, centralized services to eliminate redundancies in information technology, human resources, and finance. This is also important as an institution should only need so many people doing the same type of work. Number 4, consolidate purchasing to ensure the best deals with suppliers. Again, this is a money-saving concept that many universities engage in. For example, my department will not order supplies until we hit the minimum amount spent for free shipping. And number 5, drop courses that have become obsolete. This is kind of a duh suggestion. If courses consistently have low enrollment numbers and is not required for any major or minor, it is possible that the institution could live without it. Other possible solutions to UConn's budget deficit issue include short and long-term cuts, policy changes, changing of the budget model, and creating incentives. Short-term cuts are considered to be 1 to 3 years long and are not meant to be permanent. These cuts are focused on areas outside of personnel. This could be reducing funding for certain programs for a short period of time, holding off on capital improvements that are not absolutely vital, and doing everything possible to reduce supply expenses. There are even more short-term cuts that the university could consider, but the budget manager would need detailed information about how the institution's money is being spent at that time. Long-term cuts usually last 3 years or longer and should reflect the university's mission and vision. Long-term cuts may include early retirement of personnel or buyouts. UConn could also impose an unpaid time off requirement for some or all faculty or staff. Pay reductions are an option as well. Obviously, these types of cuts are not favorable to faculty and staff and will make UConn less attractive for potential future employees. Because of this, I believe short-term cuts should be implemented first, and long-term cuts should be used as a last resort. There are multiple opportunities at any university for policy changes that may reduce costs. Policies for routine program reviews could help the school determine whether they are underfunded or overfunded. System-wide statements of priority could help relay to the entire institution what should be a financial priority and what should not. Perhaps even a national policy regarding higher education finance could be implemented. State policy should also be reviewed in regards to funding. Financial aid and tuition policies should also be reviewed to determine whether they are contributing to the deficit. Perhaps with all the apparent issues with budgeting at UConn, the school should change budgeting models. Responsibility-centered budgeting has become popular in recent years and can potentially help rebuild the budget. This is a decentralized model of budgeting, which involves more people and therefore more oversight regarding the spending of institutional funds. Performance-based funding, if put into effect by the state, could also change the status of UConn's budget. Performance-based funding assists schools in not only keeping enrollment stable, but it also helps with retention and matriculation, meaning students are staying and paying tuition and fees longer. Creating incentives for individual units or entire institutions to reduce their financial impact is a great way to ease the hit of the budget deficits. Incentives can be used to push faculty and staff to work hard to keep students at the school and to see them graduate. Incentives could be used for enrollment officials as well. When looking for areas in which funds can be cut, budget managers and CFOs have to be considerate of many different factors. First and most importantly, one must think of the impact on students when cutting budgets. The institution is there to serve students, so making cuts that are detrimental to the population, unless it is a last resort, is not fitting to the mission or vision of any school. The impact on both the college community and the community outside of the college is also important to consider. Cutting programs that serve a large amount of students and community members would not be favorable. For example, cutting the library's budget would harm both students and community members who may also use the library. Accountability and transparency go hand in hand. The budget decisions being made should reflect a decision made by either an individual or a group of individuals. These individuals should be known to the stakeholders so that they can be held accountable. Cuts to the budget should be explained, and stakeholders should have an avenue to express their concerns about the decisions being made. Commitment to tenure was sort of touched on the previous slide. UConn should not cut seasoned faculty in order to save money. Commitment to tenure helps ensure that students receive a quality education. Degree attainment may not seem that important when it comes to budget cuts, but when certain classes or programs are defunded or certain faculty are let go, students can be blocked from obtaining their degree and would either have to start over with a new major or attend a new school. Either way is not beneficial to the students. Lastly, it is important to consider equity when cutting budgets. All schools want to gain equity, of course, and it is important that avenues that lead to the attainment of equity are not closed. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a great day.